All right, well, thank you so much to everyone for coming tonight. We're super excited that you are here. We're going to go through just a couple of things. I want to make a couple introductions first of who we have in this room, as well as on camera. So I'm going to start with April. And do you want to introduce yourself, and then Lisa?
Sure. I am April Hoon. Do I need to turn my camera on?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's up to you if you want to.
I am student recruitment specialist with workforce department. What my job is anybody who inquires about a program, I reach out to them and follow up and see what gauges their interest and tries to help them get started in a class they're interested in.
Okay.
And then I'm Lisa Heiser back here. I'm the new workforce fast forward coach. So I am people that don't know where to start, they start with me. And then we start trying to figure out the best path. And then as you're in the programs, you would need help with resumes or job searches, I come in for that piece too.
Awesome. So they are here tonight and they're going to talk a little bit about the financial assistance. We like to cover that first because we do know that sometimes when you're looking at programs, that's the number one thing you really want to know is how in the world can I even afford to do this? So we have some great opportunities and options that we're going to share with you guys. We're going to talk about the nurse aid program. The instructor for that was going to pop on, so we'll see if she does. If not, I'll talk about it. And then we'll go through some of the other programs, and Janet is going to talk specifically about medical assisting and phlebotomy. So Janet, you're up on the screen. You want to just say hi?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're looking forward to providing you lots of great information.
And to Janet's point, my goal in doing these sessions is ultimately to give you as much information as possible without overwhelming you, but to help you to make the best informed decision possible. We want you to understand what you're getting into long before you ever start that first class. So that is our goal tonight. So with that in mind, Lisa or April, do you want to share about the financial piece?
I'll go over a little bit about fast forward.
Okay, do you want to come up here just so that the camera will pick you up? And then we have the forms too.
So
I'll pass out whatever you want.
there's fast forward and the financial application thing. So I'm going to go over a little bit about fast forward. So Anna is passing out the fast forward agreement. So basically what fast forward is it is a grant from the state of Virginia that helps cover 2/3 of the cost of your class. Based solely being on a Virginia resident for more than a year. So, what it does is, whenever you fill it out, so, yeah, just like that, my mind went blank, I'm sorry. If you fill the fast forward agreement out, the stipulation for that is again, you have to be a resident of Virginia for more than 12 months. And you have to complete the class. You wouldn't be able to, fail the class based upon attendance, and you'd have to make sure you completed the credential at the end of the class. So it is, and if you fail that because of that, you'd have to pay 1/3 of that back. There's also financial assistance available to those who are income qualified. I know that a family, if you're a single person, you can make up to 5320. And as long as you're under that, don't put me on that. It's in your packet.
Yeah, there's a little chart in there.
58,320, so I was right. A single person can make that, as long as they follow those other qualifications too. You would also have to submit some additional documentation to make sure that you're domiciled in the state of Virginia. But, that's how that works. So essentially you could take a class for free.
The key to all of this is that you have to show up for class or you owe the state back. So no attendance, get out your checkbook. So that's the big piece. We have a financial aid officer in the workforce office that will help you walk through all of the application process. Pretty easy. Proving your domicile just means proving that you've lived in the state of Virginia for the last 12 months, either your driver's license, your voter registration card, things like that, and your income level. It's basically, if you can provide last year's tax return, the first page of your 1040, they're looking at box 11 for your adjusted gross income to just make sure that your income falls under that threshold. So basically the class can be free. Every class up to it can be free. Except dental, not dental. But, yeah, if you look inside the catalog, you're looking for things that say Fast Forward funding and G3 funded, and that's how you know how much you'll have to pay. Questions so far?
And all of those requirements for documentation are listed in that financial assistance application as well.
I would say at the end of the day, if money is a concern and this all is all a little bit too much, call us and talk to us and we can work you through it. There's a ton of options right now. We even have additional scholarships at times. So if that seems like that's a barrier for you, call us, talk to us, explain your situation. And we'll guide you through it the best that we can. And if there's an option, we're going to give it to you. I would also say if you are not present today and you're online or Zooming with us now, if you go to our laurelridgeworkforce.com/funding page, and I have a little screenshot of what it looks like up there. There's a little tab that says funding. And my little thing's in the way. Funding and policies. If you click under all options or under G3, all of those things that we just talked about are in there. The little charts as far as how much money you can make is in there. So there's just a ton of information regarding finances on there. So I would definitely encourage you to check that out. Don't let money be the thing that stands in the way. Talk to us. And if we can work magic, we do. So hopefully by now you have gotten a catalog in the mail. If you didn't get one, you can pick one up. Everybody here has gotten one. But if you go to our website as well, if you go under this courses and programs tab and click on that, there's the little drop down menu and it'll say course catalog. So if you click on that, it'll take you right to the online version of this. The cool thing is you can scroll over any category and click on it and it'll take you exactly where you need to go to register. So definitely check that out if you don't have one in your hands at the moment. The next thing I like to really point out is what the job market looks like. Part of my role, and I'm Anna Teeter. I don't know that I totally introduced myself, but I'm the program manager for all the allied health programs. And part of my role is doing the research behind what's in the job market right now, what's needed. I talk to employers, we build the programs, I hire the instructors, and see it all the way through, work with the certifying bodies. And I'm constantly watching the job market, seeing where it fluctuates, up and down from there. So when I pulled this information actually just yesterday, this is the information that came up in the different categories. I like to share that because I want you to have a good picture of what it looks like. The numbers sometimes are a little bit wonky. I will say it is a median range. Not the lower end, not the higher end, somewhere sort of in the middle. It does kind of depend on where you travel to at times as far as what that looks like, and it can vary office to office, but this kind of gives you just a sort of general picture of where the different careers can land. This picture right here is what it looks like just within the Laurel Ridge region. So our region encumbers Frederick, Warren, Clark, Shenandoah, Page, Rappahannock, and Fauquier. Good job, Lisa. I should have given you that test. So that's the area that when I'm looking at these jobs, that's what it's going to pull. So again, it depends on sort of what region you're looking at as to where those numbers kind of lie. I also like to pull surrounding counties because if you live in Winchester, it may only be 45 minutes or so to get to your Martinsburg, your Hagerstown. Same is true in the sort of the Shenandoah region. It could be, depending upon where you live in there, 45 minutes to an hour to Harrisonburg. Same thing, Fauquier, you get into Manassas. Obviously, there's a lot more jobs and higher pay in that region. So I like to keep that in mind. Oh, and I have this little picture up here and you can't see the rest of it. So on that, it also shows the active job postings as well. So you can see in the last 6 months, this is how many jobs there were posted. for those specific occupations. Again, I monitor this because, for example, phlebotomy, I could probably run as many classes as I wanted to, and I would always fill them up. However, I know that in the last 6 months, there's only been 73 jobs. So I'm not going to run 20 classes of phlebotomy because I know there's not jobs on the other side. So that's another reason why I watch this. But this is this region. And then if we jump over to, this little guy's going to be in my way tonight. Jump over to adding the surrounding counties, you can see obviously wages go up and the job postings go up significantly. Again, that can also tell me that if you are sometimes, if you look at like medical assistants on the previous screen, medical assistants, it was showing there's 129 job postings. If I jump over to this one, there's 432. Obviously, that's a significant difference. I like to share that piece because sometimes the hope is that I will find a job right down the corner from me. That may or may not always be the case. There are plenty of jobs, but there are times when you may have to travel a little bit. So I just like to give that realistic picture of there's lots of jobs. But that's kind of the difference between our region and then the surrounding counties. Again, the wages are higher as you kind of go sometimes too, like the Hagerstown, the Manassas area, Gainesville area. They do increase as you go that direction. But again, that may or may not work for you, but I just like to share that. All right, I believe. Terry, are you on the call and can you hear us?
I am here. Yes,
Awesome. Will you like to share about the Nurse Aid program and introduce yourself?
sure. My name is Terry Shanks, and I'm the program lead at Laurel Ridge for the Nurse Aid Education Program. And I was sharing with Anna this afternoon that it has a special place in my heart because I started as a candy striper in Nurse Aid and then became a nurse. And here I am, and about 40 years later in healthcare. Anyway, we offer 2 fall classes, 2 spring classes, 1 summer class. There's 7-week sessions now consistently. And the beauty of our program is once you complete the class with us, then you can sit for your state test at Laurel Ridge in Middletown. We are testing about 2 times a month with our program. And our success rate right now is we have 100% written pass rate, and we have up to a 96% pass rate on our skills. Our students do go to clinicals locally in the nursing home setting, plus they may have some opportunity in the near future to get back into the hospital as well. Our classes run Monday through Thursday, 4 to 9:30 p.m. We have 1 Saturday lab that is part of the 7-week, and then we require 1 Saturday day shift clinical. And the prerequisites, some of them are already in Anna's PowerPoint here regarding background check, drug screen, immunizations, and BLS CPR. And the workforce does also offer the BLS CPR classes that are required with a certain amount of seating per class. And we are part of the G3 funding track as well. So the Nurse Aid program can accelerate into the LPN as well as RN. And what does a Nurse Aid do? Per this screen, CNAs participate in the ADL's daily activities of living. So bathing, vital signs, feeding, incontinence care, monitoring intake and output, basic patient care, communication, safety, dressing, etc. And if you have interest, you can inquire through our Laurel Ridge, the main page for the Laurel Ridge Community College. And then you'll see there .edu Nurse Aid. And also you can contact me. So if you have questions, tshanks@laurelridge.edu or 548-868-8279.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Do we
So,
have any
Oh.
questions, Anna, or regarding the program?
I don't think at this point.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure,
So
thank
Sure. So as Terry said, some people go into nurse aide and will stay as a nurse aide, and that is fantastic. Others will start out as a CNA, go to LPN, RN, and move along the way. It's a great stepping stone, especially if you're not really sure if healthcare is your thing. That can be a great way to get started. If you have a specific interest in a specific area of medicine, it's kind of a great way to start because you can choose to apply to certain wings of the hospital and rub shoulders with those doctors and nurses. So it's a great opportunity to really get some fantastic experience. Another track that some students choose to go is they choose to add the medication aid program
you.
onto that. So as a nurse aide, and this is the only way to become a medication aide, you complete the nurse aid program, you can go on to get medication aid training, and that allows you to distribute medication to patients in specific facilities. So I went way too far on there. They're typically found in long-term care facilities. They can also be found in like a regional jail setting as well. They're typically not found in hospitals. But it is a way for CNAs to enhance their education, enhance their wages, and increase their opportunities within that realm. So we offer it, and it is going to be this spring. It's a 68-hour program. Also, like the nurse aide, it does include clinicals, and that's why you do have to do the background check, drug screen, physical, CPR, all in advance, because that is an active part of the class, and you do go into those facilities and participate with that. So you do have to have all that done before the class starts. So I would say with either of these, if you're interested in it, the earlier you register, the better, because then we can get you all the information that you need to have that all taken care of before that class starts.
And
Sure.
also, Anna, that is a certification test as well.
Yes, it
The
is.
nurse aide, so they do get a certification with the med aid.
Mm-hmm.
Say I do my nurse aid, how long does that drug test, background screening last? Or do I have to do it again for the medication aid once I'm a nurse aid?
Sure. I believe the background check, we can use 6 months to a year. We probably have to have another drug screen after about 6 months or so. And that is the cheaper of the two. So just probably that piece we would have again. We would still take your physical with immunizations, and your BLS is usually good for 2 years. So as long as you did it with the first one and you're taking it consecutively, you would be good to go. So that's the cool thing. If you take nurse aid, I'd go ahead and tack on your medication aid, more opportunity, more wages. You already have that. And then you can also continue on if you want to, or you can stay in that career. Awesome. So next we have medical assisting, and Janet, I'm going to let you talk about that one.
So medical assistant program, it's a lot of fun, a very rigorous program, depending on where you take your course. So we do offer this at all 3 of our campus locations. Depending on where you take your course, it will meet 2 or 3 times a week. So please, again, look at our catalog, look at the online registration links to make sure that what you're signing up will work with your schedule. It does require regular internet access. Your homework is done online, and so it is important that you have reliable internet. This program is 160 hours in total, and we cover a lot of information in this program. Medical assistants usually employ doctor's offices, specialty clinics, urgent care centers, sometimes even with insurance companies, or like the medication aid, even in local regional jails. There's a wide variety of fields out there. So depending on your interest, you could choose to work in urology, which is the study of the urinary system, pediatrics, if you want to work with children, geriatrics, if you enjoy working with the elderly, as well as what's listed here, cardiology and orthopedics, OBGYN, neurology, oncology, my favorite family practice. Usually most medical assistants have a set schedule, primarily daytime hours without weekends or holidays, with the exception of urgent care centers. They're oftentimes open 7 days a week with longer hours. However, at many urgent care centers, you have the ability to have a flexible schedule allowing for 12-hour shifts. So you may work less days a week, but longer hours. So that may work with your schedule. And thank you. So some of the things we cover in class, we cover drawn blood, phlebotomy procedures. We teach how to administer injections, both for medications and immunizations and vaccines. We work on scheduling appointments, dispensing or administering medications within the doctor's office, calling in prescriptions. However, as we're transitioning in the electronic health world, more often, we are actually preparing the electronic prescriptions for the doctors to approve. You may perform some procedural tasks, such as removing stitches or staples. You'll learn how to take vital signs. You will learn how to obtain the patient's medical history, social history, surgical history. And we do work on front office skills as well. And many times as a medical assistant, you are often hired in the front office, and then after you're established, they will then transition you to the clinical or the back office. We do have skills that are practiced throughout our program, and these skills are practiced on one another. Your participation is mandatory. It helps you to be able to succeed, and it teaches other soft skills like empathy and teamwork. So we make sure that everyone has different partners throughout our programs. Next is our phlebotomy program. Our phlebotomy technician program is going to primarily prepare you for a career in blood collection. However, not all specimens that are collected are blood specimens. We do collect non-blood specimens as well. You could be processing urine, collecting throat cultures, even sending samples out for wound cultures or pathology from a procedure that was done in your office. It is a very fast-paced 55-hour program, and there's not a minute to spare. We are always on the go. So the fast pace of this class is really makes it a lot of fun. Again, because of the art of phlebotomy takes practice, participation again is mandatory to ensure your success. You need to know how to insert the needle and how to do it smoothly and efficiently to decrease the amount of discomfort that patients and your partners in this case will receive. So phlebotomy technicians are employed in a variety of positions. In hospitals, they're dispensed out to the different floors to draw blood. Sometimes you may work in the lab, setting specimens up for processing. You can work in donation centers like the Red Cross. You can be in what we call an outpatient setting, like in the doctor's office. You could work for insurance companies, home health agencies, or even in a skilled nursing facility, drawing specimens for the nurses or if that would work in those settings. Schedule is quite flexible. It can be meeting your need, depends on where you are going to be. Many times when you're in the hospital, the phlebotomists come in and draw labs anytime after 4 a.m. And that way the testing has time to be processed and the results can be ready for the providers when they come in and begin making rounds after 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Very early hours, however, you're off very early, so you have a lot of your day that you can spend with your family, your children, and things like that.
Perfect.
I do want to add one more thing. Computer internet access is necessary for the phlebotomy program as well.
Maybe blood is not your thing or injections or all those other good things. So there is another option to still work in the medical field and not have to do that. And that is sort of that front end, that clerical piece, what Janet was talking about. So we have a program called the Patient Service Representative Program. And I will tell you, with any of these roles, when you go to do your job searches, if you go use Indeed, for example, rather than putting in something specific like patient service representative, you're going to get a few hits off of those. But if you go in and put either healthcare or medical, then sift through it, you're going to get a whole lot more opportunities. And the reason for that is not everything always has the same names when employers post these jobs. So for an example, for this front office type role, then this clerical role, it could be called that patient service representative. And we went with that because that's simply what Valley Health typically uses. But other people call it a medical office assistant. Some people call it administrator, admissions coordinator, unit secretary, and you can see all the rest of those as well. So by completing this type of training, you would be eligible for those types of roles. So again, I encourage you to go really broad with your searches versus adding all the sprinkles and hot fudge and all those kinds of things to your ice cream. Just keep it plain vanilla and then do your searching. So again, this is the front end role. So you would be doing things like scheduling appointments. You're really the first person that they that greets the patient as they come in. I mean, think about going to the doctor's office. That person at the front is what this role would be. You could be doing some database management. It could be filing some insurance. It may depend upon how big your office is as to how much you'll really get into the billing and coding side of things. We do touch on it. It's not a huge part of it, but we'll have a basic understanding of it. Some places are still faxing, so you might be doing some of that. Could be scanning some information in, processing medical records. We do have a big portion of this class being medical terminology. It's about 18 hours of the course. So you do get into it because at the end of the day, you can't necessarily be sitting behind your desk and be like, I don't know what they're talking about. And I don't really have time to sit here and Google it. You really need to know that. And medical terminology is sort of like learning a foreign language. So having a basic understanding of that will really help you go a long way. We also do practice in a generic EMR, so you kind of understand how that works and different things that you might do in that. This is a live online class at this point, and scheduled sort of for this next couple of times. So it's 60 hours. And it does give you the ability to sit for the NHA credential at the end, like the medical assisting and phlebotomy class. Next is the dental assisting program. This is the only one that is not fast forward. Like we talked about, at this point, it is full price. And that's simply because I haven't had a great credential to tie to it. And the state makes us tie a credential to a program in order to get that funding. Does that mean that this is not a valid program? Not at all. There's a ton of opportunity within this realm. And it is very similar to the role of a medical assistant, but in the dental world. So you are working right alongside of that dentist. That we teach something called four-handed dentistry, and you're two of those hands. So he's two, you're two. You're passing equipment to him, he's passing equipment to you. You do the room setup, takedown, cleaning the instrumentation, prep for different procedures that are being done. So again, we go through, similar to like what Janet explained, we kind of go through those different areas that you might want to work in so that you'll be prepared when you leave. This role does do clerical and clinical as well in the dental world. As a part of this class, you do get your BLS CPR certification and your dental radiation health and safety certification as well. And I kind of talked a little bit about the duties. It is a 160-hour class. And again, you can work in a lot of different settings. So it could be surgery, it could be peds, it could be ortho, it could be family practice. So there's a lot of different realms. It's funny because every time I go sit on the class, it is almost always extraction night. And I get in there and I'm like, oh no, here we go again. And they're showing videos. And it's funny because the student that was sitting in front of me, she's like, and this is why I'm not doing that. So it gives you a taste for these different areas. So by the time you're finished, one, you're prepared to go into that arena if you want to, but it also gives you an idea of what the different specialties are. So you know what you want to pursue afterwards. Hey, if surgery is your thing, there's a great opportunity for it. And we need those people. If it's not your thing, maybe there's a different realm. And I think the person in front of me wanted to go into ortho. There's not as much of that in that realm. It's more about the straightening of the teeth. So all that to say is there's a lot of opportunity within all of these realms. And you really get to kind of tailor it to your interests. There's a lot of jobs out there right now that you can kind of pick and choose which arenas you really want to go into. If the market shifts, that may not always be the case, but for right now, that seems to be what it looks like. So we also do offer, like I said, that BLS CPR class. So if you are taking nurse aid or medication aid, it is required before the class starts. I don't make some of the other programs take it because if you get a job at different locations, they'll say you need to either have this or get it within 6 months. So they will also train you if you don't have it. If you don't want to get it in advance, you don't have to. And sometimes people already have it coming in as well. So just know that that is an option. We do offer a bunch of other online courses as well. We have a ton of information on our website at that laurelridgeworkforce.com/HNTK, and that stands for Healthcare Need to Know. And if you have a catalog and look, that same link is on page 9 at the bottom. We have a bunch of videos on there. We have a bunch of instructors that have come to share more about that information. Sort of what we did here tonight, but a little bit of a different look at it, because it's more so from their perspective rather than my just informational side. But I really encourage you to check that out. All the student handbooks are on there. That really gives you a sense of what you're signing up for. We talk through all the expectations, what you need to know well in advance. So I strongly encourage you to check that out. If you're new to Canvas or new to Zoom for the classes that utilize those platforms, we do have some just basic instructional videos that you can go through that is also on our website. I would say all of these classes, with the exception of CPR, you need to have computer and internet access. That is a huge part. We typically use Canvas for the majority of these classes. And it's really just an online platform where everything is there, all in one place. So it is really important that you have that. When we do have inclement weather, there are times where we will flip online, so you don't actually have to come here, and we can do some of those lecture pieces online. So, if you don't have access to that, definitely, again, reach out to us and talk to us. We do have some resources here at the college that we can point you towards as well. All right, so that is what I had for tonight. I want to thank you so much for coming. Again, please reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. Have a great night or day whenever you're watching this.
Are you going to take personal questions now, Anna?
Yeah.